Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are taking our very first look at the brand new campaign ship, the Tier 8 Greek Velos, or I don't know. I would call it the Velos. That's just me, you know, Velos, velocity, that sort of thing. But every time I've said that, everybody in the chat or in the comments are like, it doesn't say it like that. So we'll call it all three. It's either Velos, Velos, or Velos. Pick your pronunciation. That's the one. Doesn't make the ship any better, unfortunately. However, let's take a look at it. We're running Jersey Swirsky, obviously. We've got Eric Berry, William Sims as our inspirations. We've got Observant Rage, Look at Me Now, Perceptive, Smoke on the Water, and Unstoppable as our perks. We are running Aiming Systems Mod 1. We are running Steering Gears Mod 2, Concealment System Mod, and we are running Gunfire Control System Mod 2. All right, where do I begin? Well, you got a decent smoke. It's a good smoke. You've got an engine boost that exists. You've got a defensive AA that exists. But that's about all. Italian Unity flag, because if you squint just right, kind of looks like a Spartan helmet. And then, of course, we're running the special Mati Mataki. I apologize to all the Greeks out there. No idea if I said that even close to being correct. But that's the best I got. But it is the special camo for the ship. Survivability, 20,300 hit points. 127 millimeter 38 caliber Mark 12s. 4 of them, reaching out to 11.4 kilometers with this build, reloading in 2.4 seconds with a 180 degree turn time of 5.3 seconds. Firing HE shells, it's 1800 maximum damage with a 5% chance to set fires, and for AP shells, maximum of 2100 damage. Torpedoes, 533 millimeter Mark 14 torpedoes. 1 quintuple launcher is all you get. They reload in 60 seconds. They do a really, really nice damage of 19,033, but they are detectable out to 1.4 kilometers, which is pretty average. They got better than average range with when you consider these are American 533 millimeter Mark 14 torpedoes. They got 10.5 kilometers range because reasons, and they are also 66 knots because, again, reasons. AA defense, don't laugh, but this is what you have your AA, your defensive AA for, right? You have one dude on the deck shooting a 76.2 millimeter 50 caliber Mark 22, getting a whole 62 damage per second out to 4 kilometers. And then you've got the dual-purpose main guns. It's the American 5-inch 38 Mark 12. You get 4 of those doing 43, which is the best number, but not when it's to AA damage per second, reaching out to 5 kilometers. Maneuverability, a maximum of 38 knots, 620 meter turning circle, and a 3.5 second rudder shift with this build. Concealment is pretty good, as you'd expect. I mean, this is a Fletcher class destroyer. 5.1 kilometers with this build, 3 kilometers by air. 2 is always guaranteed, 2.6 smoke firing penalty. Stats are going to be abysmal. I'll be real honest with you. This ship is not a fun ship to play in most games. 29% win rate. Most of that's mainly my team being absolute garbo, but there's been a lot of Raffles Thompson. Unfortunately, you can't do enough in this ship quick enough to swing the tide of battle most of the time. However, I will show you the one example where sometimes you get lucky. But I have not enjoyed my time in this ship so far. 38,000 average damage. Again, you guys know I tend to play to win, right? Which just highlights the win rate of this ship. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, not ideal. Let's move on. Armor. It's a destroyer. Has none. There you go. Overview. Reloader, above average main battery reload speed, fast above average maximum movement speed, extended smoke screen. The Velos. USS Charette, a Fletcher class destroyer, was built in Boston. The ship fought in the Pacific, escorted aircraft carriers, conducted raid operations, and participated in the Battle of Leyte Gulf. In 1947, she was sent to the reserve for subsequent mothballing. Then, in 1959, the U.S. handed the ship over to Greece. where she received the name Velos. In 1994, the destroyer was declared an anti-dictatorial museum in recognition of the Navy's devotion to the Constitution and democracy. She entered service in 1943, and there was one of them in the series. Let's be real. There were a lot of Fletcher-class destroyers. They just made this one worse in like every way, at least when it comes to World of Warships Legends. So let's get a look at her. She's very Greek-looking for an American destroyer. I do like this camo, I'm not going to lie. The blue is okay. Again, this is an Athenian sort of camo, so it is what it is. But overall, I like it. As a Spartan, I can approve, even if I think it would look better in Spartan Crimson. But honestly, I like the theme of like the Greek triremes, you know, the old school shooty boats. I actually like it. But to play this thing, whew, boy, is it a workout. So with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we're going to be on Haven. And, of course, we're in the Velos. Well, I gotta say, there's a couple of things that I want to point out. First of all, pay attention to the game. There is only one division in this entire lobby, and they are on the enemy team. They have a destroyer, a cruiser, and a battleship. And more importantly, a hybrid battleship. Keep that in mind. Now, there are two destroyers in this lobby. One of them is the Velos in the division. The other one is a Lushun. Okay? I don't really feel like getting in a fight with either of those two if I can avoid it. So first things first, I'm going to take off. I'm going to go out. I'm going to try to spot for my team on the right. There is no inside cap, so there's absolutely zero reason for me to go into the middle of the map. If I do so, I am guaranteeing that I'm going to get in a fight with probably one, if not both, of those destroyers if I'm not careful. And that does not end well. This ship does not have the DPM. It does not have like any advantage over any destroyer that it fights. Like you can look at the guns and be like, well, you do have a fast fire rate. You have 4 guns that do almost nothing. Your DPM is absolute trash, and you're a gigantic target for every other destroyer, and they will absolutely melt you. Does not matter what it is. So you do not want to make this thing a 1v1 sort of destroyer. Yes, you want to go into guns. I get that. But what I'm saying is you don't want it to be a fair fight when you engage another destroyer, okay? If you have to engage a destroyer, you can, but you don't want it to be a fair fight because unfortunately, you're not going to win that, right? So now as I push out, this is going to showcase the importance of having perceptive or twist and track. In this case, it's perceptive. The importance of it is I know the direction of the closest enemy ship, and I am going to show my teammates where that is on the map. So right now, we know that there is a destroyer in the middle. Now right now, it could be up in front, but notice how it just changed? He just crossed grid square. You notice how that works? So as he crosses another grid square, I know he's behind us, right? Like look at where it's pointing. That is the closest person. So clearly, most likely a destroyer in the middle of the map, trying to get in and try to get some like rushes off on people. So what we're going to do is we're going to ping the map. We're going to say, hey, just so you guys are aware, there is a destroyer right there. And the Schlieffen activates his sonar and gets the destroyer spotted. Now he's got to be careful. Doesn't want to rush the guy right off the bat. You know he's got torpedoes. He ain't had to use them on anything. So you don't want to just go around the corner and get yeeted. However, if he and that République that are right next to him can push out, they can absolutely get rid of that guy. Meanwhile, I've got to try to help get rid of these guys on this flank. Now you can see the enemy Delaware has already gotten a kill, right? So what we're going to do is use our fast reloading torpedoes to really put a hurting on these guys. They're calling for support. Unfortunately, I can't help them. If I go over there to fight that Lushun, I'm going to lose a lot of hit points. It's not going to end well. My best effort right now is to just maintain what I'm doing, flank these battleships, and keep them off balance. If I can hit them with torps, fantastic. If I can't, oh well. But the main thing is that we at least try to keep these guys off balance. That keeps them off of my battleships and allows my battleships to do what they're going to do. But because we have our concealment the way it is, we can get real close to these guys. And with these torpedoes being pretty solid torpedoes, if we land any of them, they're going to hurt. Now, of course, we do manage to hit the GK because even I struggle to miss a GK at this range. And we end up with 26,000 damage with two torpedoes. But we also caused 2 floods. He damage controls it. But we already have our torpedoes back. We're ready to go again. Now, I'm trying to pay attention to what he's doing. I thought he might beach, so I wanted to hold. He starts to angle away from the island, telling me he's not going to beach. So we're going to go ahead and throw those torps out there. I didn't bother with the Yamato yet because there's no reason to, right? So, wanted to get the Gross Occur first. He's the tankiest of these 2 ships. So, if we can get him, we win, right? Like, we win this flank. And so, one thing that I want you guys to pay attention to is as we continue to harass this flank, our battleships, the Schlieffen in particular, managed to get rid of the Lushun, which is huge. We managed to land 3 more torpedoes on the GK, causing a permaflood, and he goes full broadside, goes full broadside, he actually turned back in, but it's too little too late. He's going to go down, and the friendly Schlieffen picks up another kill. Now watch what this Yamato does here. I'm not going to lie, this was kind of hilarious, but we're going to go ahead and put some torpedoes. Again, we have our torps back. That's the beauty of having fast reloading torpedoes. You got it. You got them. Use them. Keep the people off balance. Now, as Yamato's trying to retreat, he knows the Schlieffen's got the advantage. He actually goes full broadside to the Schlieffen, and how the Schlieffen doesn't manage to remove him with the first shot, like, is beyond me. Like, this guy is full broadside right now, and I've got him lit up, so the Schlieffen knows it. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start shooting at the Yamato to try to get his attention. Just for a moment, even if it's just momentarily he looks in my direction, that capes him from shooting my Schlieffen. Unfortunately, Schlieffen doesn't manage to get around the corner in time to do anything about it. But pay attention. Notice that the enemy Delaware is trying to attack me with torpedoes. What does that tell you guys? That enemy division is heading our direction. We do land a torpedo on the Yamato, and we managed to get the Yamato out of there with the Schlieffen. Again, picking up another kill. The Schlieffen's got to be laughing his ass off right now, and I apologize for my language, but seriously. Dude has not... He got to kill the destroyer, which is all the XP, right? He took all the health off of Lushun, got that, 100% his. But then he gets a low-health GK that he can easily finish off, a low-health Yamato that he can easily finish off. But the Delaware made a critical error here. And the reason I say that is because that Delaware tried to torp me with his planes, I figured that these guys were coming back. We get the Delaware spotted, we get the enemy cruiser spotted, and we get the Montana spotted going away. Look at where my twist and track is pointing, right? Where's my perceptive pointing? Right at the destroyer. So I start pinging the map, I drop torpedoes, trying to keep them off guard, right? If we can drop torps in the direction of the enemy destroyer, and then I immediately start to try to disengage. There is absolutely no winning for me in this situation. That Neptune and the destroyer will kill me if I get engaged. So I am at a huge disadvantage here. I have to fall back. You can see these guys are requesting support. I've called it out on the mini-map, or on the map a couple of times where the destroyer's at, so I'm trying to give them the best possible chance to protect themselves from the destroyer. And at this point, I know destroyer is hunting me, right? Like, it's pretty obvious. He's following in my footsteps. He comes out, we go ahead and engage. Well aware of the fact that the enemy Neptune is here, so we try to get some shots on him, trying to do everything we can. Again, we're in a situation where we are literally in the exact same ship, right? So it's going to come down to who gets more support, me or him. Neptune, because he's shooting AP, right, we're able to get away from the Neptune. And then, of course, Delaware drops his torps on us again. Predictable. We get out of there. Now, what happens next is I double back. I don't sit in my smoke screen because we know torpedoes are incoming. You got a Neptune out there that's got torpedoes. You got the destroyer, it's got torpedoes. Set. So we don't sit in the smoke screen. And look, torpedoes. Who could have seen that coming? But as I double back, I actually make a bit of an error here. I do drop torps into the smoke because I'm expecting to potentially catch somebody off guard. They're not stupid. These guys have shown that they are aware of what's going on as a division. So I give them all the credit in the world. But Velos gets spotted. reversing out of a smoke screen. I fire at him. Unfortunately, the enemy cruiser gets into a position where he is in the perfect position to keep me spotted for a moment. I turn away, and then I get hit with one shell and a fire. Like, really? And then I was hoping that these torps would catch that Velos off guard, but unfortunately he got out of there just in time. Now we got to get skinny with it, right? Like, I would love to continue to shoot these guys, but we've got to be careful. We got to get skinny with it. And I don't know if you guys noticed, there's a shell, or there's an entire flotilla of shells coming at us, and that is the battleship. That was not the enemy cruiser. The cruiser is doing nothing to us. It's the battleship that just slapped us. But as we try to get away, we know that we cannot win this fight, right? There is no chance that I can win a fight against the division when they have a destroyer that is literally the exact same thing I am, plus they have a cruiser and a battleship to support them. I have a Ray Publique who hasn't really shown that he's done anything in this match, and a pretty decent Schlieffen player so far. So, at this point, I am just telling these guys, get back. There is no reason for us to engage further. Just fall back, get behind the islands. We have the points lead. There is no reason for us to do anything crazy. And you'll see that as I tell these guys to get back, in a moment, I'm actually going to jump into chat. The dialogue wheel can only help you so much. Eventually, you're going to need to jump into chat. And you can see I'm trying to get their attention so that they can crossfire those guys that are trying to push up on our guys that are in the cap. Again, we have the advantage here. We have the points lead. They have to come to us, right? Schlieffen starts to reverse. He's got a beautiful look at the Montana. Ray Publique is over here with a beautiful look at the Montana as well. So between the two of them, they are in the perfect position to counter the push of this Montana. That is the beauty of crossfires. That is why it's important to pay attention. And that is also why it's so important to understand when you're beaten and get the f out of there. Right, we don't waste any time playing around. We gotta go, right? We know we're being hunted by the destroyer. We don't have the hit points to take it. We have a cruiser over there and a battleship, all of which are willing to shoot me. So we got to back off, right? We cannot win that. And I've already gotten into chat. I've told these guys, I cannot help you. You know that I'm being chased. So play to that. You know there's a destroyer behind me. You will be torped if you sit around, right? Schlieffen is trying to dodge torps from the enemy Delaware. You can see he's turning towards the island here. He actually gets most of these to not arm. The rear torpedo does arm, and doesn't look like it caused a flood. I don't know. Didn't look like he had damage control, but it may have. But either way, you can see he's detected. And at this point, I'm like, yeah, no kidding. Like, there's nothing I can do to help you there. You know what's there, so stay safe. That's all I can do. You're with Jesus. I've done all I can do on that flank. However, do I abandon them? Do I absolutely run away and hide in the back of the map? No. What do? I put myself in a position to be useful. Whether it's spotting, whether it's trying to cross torp, whatever it is. Try to stay useful. I have all of the advantage in the world as a destroyer. And now that I have put somebody else between me and the enemy destroyer, unless the destroyer understands what I'm trying to do, he's not going to be able to follow me across the map. So, instead, we go around and we're setting up a cross torp on this Delaware. He's trying to push forward. At this point, he should realize that he is the one that is located. And if he's as good as these guys seem to be, as a division, he should communicate that to his team. Say, hey, look, I'm located, meaning the destroyer is probably on my side, right? So, at this point, the destroyer should understand what's happening and try to counter me. But notice that I have a destroyer behind me as well. And that just so happens to be a full health Lashun. Alright? So as we get the torpedoes out on the enemy Delaware, he's trying to push forward. He's using the island to protect himself as best as he can. He thinks that he's mostly safe. Doesn't expect these torpedoes to come in. And right as our torpedoes get there, somebody managed to take his health. But we end up finishing him off. That is huge. No more flying torpedo problems. None of that. And then, not only that, but we also have the enemy Velos spotted by our Lashun. So we go ahead and smoke up. Lashun has a sonar. This Velos is in complete screwed. He's completely screwed. He's got two destroyers shooting at him, and we are able to take him down. I try to reverse, making sure that he can't shoot me. The enemy GK is still over here. The cruiser is all that's left on that right flank. He's got no chance against two battleships, especially a Schlieffen and a Ray Publique. And as I come out of the smoke screen, I was expecting the GK to be there, but I didn't expect him to be ready to go as soon as I come out. I should have came out with the intent to drop torps immediately, but unfortunately, I come out and I'm not in a good torp angle, so he's going to get a shot off before I get ready to torp, and unfortunately he does hit me enough to finish me off. So that's my game. It's the best that I could do in this thing. Again, I don't recommend this ship at all. It's not a fun ship to play. It's not a good ship. It is mid at best and awful at worst. It's very hard to play unless you have a team that's capable of helping you. And as a solo player, I can attest to the fact that this is not a fun ship to play solo. But needless to say, we did get a game for you guys to showcase the strengths and the weaknesses of the ship. And it was a fun, sweaty match that got to showcase some good plays by both teams. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. 121,000 damage, second on the team, only to the Schlieffen, who played pretty well, and then got lucky that he got to steal a couple of kills from me. But still, he played a great game, so well done to him. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.